Good morning, everyone. I'm excited to welcome you to today's presentation. Today, we'll be discussing the important topic of data integrity in QC laboratories. My name is Dr. S.K. Singh, and I hold a PhD in this field. Over the next few minutes, I'll be walking you through key concepts, best practices, and strategies to manage and ensure data integrity effectively. So, let's get started and explore how we can uphold the highest standards in our laboratories. Let's take a moment to understand why data integrity is so critical in QC labs. As you know, QC laboratories generate a wide range of analytical data that are essential for various purposes. These include batch release testing, which ensures each product batch meets quality standards before it reaches the market. Then we have stability studies, which help us understand how a product maintains its quality over time. Raw material testing is also vital, confirming that the ingredients we use are up to standard. And of course, all this data supports regulatory submissions, demonstrating compliance to authorities. Now, if data integrity is compromised, the consequences can be severe. It can lead to regulatory warning letters, which can impact our reputation and operations. Worse, it could result in product recalls, risking patient safety and incurring significant costs. That's why regulators insist on accurate, reliable, and traceable laboratory data. They want to ensure that the data we produce is trustworthy and can be verified at any point. Maintaining high data integrity isn't just about compliance. It's about protecting patients and ensuring the quality of our products. Let's take a closer look at the regulatory framework that governs data integrity. When it comes to key regulations, we have 21 CFR Part 11, which is a major regulation in the United States that sets the standards for electronic records and signatures. Moving over to Europe, we see EU GMP Annex 11, which provides similar guidance for electronic systems used in manufacturing and quality control. Additionally, EU GMP Annex 15 focuses on validation and qualification of systems, ensuring they meet quality standards. And then there's ICH Q10, which offers a comprehensive pharmaceutical quality system guideline applicable globally. These regulations share some common requirements that are crucial for maintaining data integrity. First, they emphasize the need for secure electronic records to prevent unauthorized access or tampering. Controlled access is also essential, meaning only authorized personnel can modify or view sensitive data. Audit trails are another key point. They help us track every change made to records, providing transparency and accountability. Lastly, system validation is critical. It ensures that our systems are consistently reliable and compliant with regulatory standards. Overall, these regulations create a robust framework that guides us in protecting the integrity of our data throughout the entire life cycle, which is fundamental to ensuring product quality and patient safety. So, what exactly is data integrity? Well, it's all about making sure that the data we handle remains complete, consistent, and accurate throughout its entire life cycle. Essentially, it means that at every stage, from collection to storage to analysis, the data stays reliable and trustworthy. This is critical because laboratory data, for example, needs to accurately reflect what we've observed during experiments or tests. If the data isn't true to the actual observations, decisions based on it could be flawed. Data integrity also ensures that the information is traceable and verifiable. That means we can follow the data back to its source and confirm that it hasn't been tampered with or altered without proper authorization. And speaking of safety, protecting data from unauthorized changes is a key part of maintaining integrity. We want to make sure that only authorized personnel can modify the data, which helps us prevent errors or malicious tampering. Overall, maintaining data integrity is fundamental to ensuring the quality and reliability of our laboratory results, which ultimately supports sound decision-making and compliance with regulations. Now, let's talk about how regulators evaluate data integrity using the ALCOA Plus principles. These principles set the standard for ensuring that data is trustworthy and reliable. ALCOA Plus stands for complete, consistent, enduring, and available. These are the core attributes that data must have to be considered valid. Additionally, the original ALCOA principles include attributable, legible, contemporaneous, original, and accurate. Together, these form the ALCOA Plus framework, which provides a comprehensive way to assess data quality. It's important to remember that QC data must meet all these ALCOA Plus attributes. If any of these elements are missing or compromised, the data could be questioned or deemed unreliable. This is essential in maintaining compliance and ensuring the integrity of our manufacturing and testing processes. By adhering to these principles, we ensure our data stands up to rigorous regulatory scrutiny and supports the integrity of our overall quality system. Now, let's take a closer look at the data lifecycle in a QC laboratory. This cycle is fundamental to ensuring data integrity and compliance throughout the entire process. It starts with data generation, where the actual data is created, whether through measurements, observations, or experiments. Once generated, the data must be accurately recorded, making sure that every detail is captured correctly and securely. Next comes data processing, where we analyze and transform the raw data into meaningful information. After processing, we move to data review, a critical step where we verify and validate the data to confirm its accuracy and reliability. Once reviewed, the data is compiled into reports in the data reporting stage, which are then used for decision-making and regulatory submissions. Following reporting, data archival ensures that all records are stored securely for long-term access and compliance purposes. Finally, data retrieval allows us to access and review data when needed, whether for audits, investigations, or ongoing analysis. The key point here is that controls must be in place at every stage of this life cycle. This is essential to maintain data quality, integrity, and compliance throughout the entire process. By understanding and managing each stage carefully, we uphold the standards that are critical in a QC environment. Let's take a closer look at some of the common data integrity risks we face in QC labs. One major issue is manual transcription errors, which happen when data is written down or entered by hand and mistakes are introduced. Then there's the risk of unrecorded trial injections, meaning some experiments or results might not be documented at all, leading to gaps in our data trail. Another problem is deleting failed analytical runs. Sometimes, labs might remove these results to present only the successful ones, but that can distort the overall picture and compromise integrity. Sharing login credentials is also a concern. It can lead to unauthorized access and make it difficult to track who did what. Backdated entries pose a serious risk as well. They involve changing dates or times to manipulate the data timeline post hoc. And uncontrolled spreadsheets, which are often used for data tracking, can easily become unmanageable or manipulated without proper controls. For example, an analyst might perform multiple HPLC injections until they get the desired result, and then only report the final run, hiding the unsuccessful attempts. This kind of practice can seriously undermine data reliability. Overall, understanding these risks helps us see where controls are needed to ensure data integrity and uphold our quality standards across all aspects of lab operations. Now, let's take a look at the laboratory systems involved in our processes. QC labs typically rely on various computerized systems to manage their data and workflows efficiently. Some of the most common ones include Laboratory Information Management Systems, or LIMS, which help organize and track samples and data throughout the testing process. Then we have Chromatography Data Systems, or CDS, which are essential for analyzing chromatography data accurately. Electronic Laboratory Notebooks, or ELN, are used for documenting experiments and results in a digital format, making data more accessible and secure. Additionally, stability management systems are important for monitoring the stability of products over time. It's crucial to remember that all these systems must comply with the 21 CFR Part 11 requirements. That means they need to ensure data integrity, security, and proper electronic record keeping, which is fundamental for regulatory compliance and maintaining trust in our data. Connecting this to our overall theme, these systems form the backbone of modern QC labs, enabling us to produce reliable, compliant, and high-quality products efficiently. Let's talk about audit trail management. Essentially, audit trails are logs that track key activities within our systems. They record when data is created, modified, or deleted, ensuring we have a clear record of all changes. They also log user actions, so we can see who did what and when. From a regulatory perspective, there are some important expectations. First, the audit trail must be enabled at all times. This isn't optional, it's a requirement. Second, periodic reviews of these audit logs are necessary to ensure everything is in order and to catch any irregularities early. And finally, any changes documented in the audit trail must be justified, meaning we need to provide a reason for why modifications were made. To give a concrete example, think about HPLC chromatogram integration changes. If adjustments are made to the integration, those changes need to be properly documented in the audit trail. This maintains transparency and ensures compliance. Overall, effective audit trail management helps us maintain data integrity, meet regulatory requirements, and uphold the quality standards our industry demands. Now let's talk about access control and security. To really protect the integrity of our data, there are several key measures we need to implement. First, using unique user IDs is essential because it ensures that each individual accessing the system is clearly identified. This helps us keep track of who is doing what. Next, role-based access controls are crucial. They allow us to assign permissions based on a person's role within the organization, so users only have access to the information they need to do their jobs. Password policies are another vital component. Strong, regularly updated passwords help prevent unauthorized access. And finally, electronic signatures add an extra layer of security and authenticity to digital transactions, making sure that documents and approvals are legitimate. All these measures work together to create a robust security framework that not only safeguards our data, but also supports the overall integrity of our operations. Remember, security isn't just about technology. It's about creating a culture of protection and trust throughout the organization. Let's take a look at this example of chromatography data integrity. Imagine we're dealing with an HPLC analysis of an API assay. Now, one risk here is that an analyst might manually reintegrate the chromatogram peaks. This could be done to alter the results, which obviously raises concerns about data integrity. To prevent this, we have several control measures in place. First, there's the audit trail review, which helps us track any changes made to the data. Then, supervisor approval is required for any reintegration, adding an extra layer of oversight. Additionally, the system uses predefined, system-generated integration rules, ensuring that peak integrations are consistent and not arbitrarily adjusted. All these measures work together to safeguard the accuracy and integrity of our chromatography data, fitting into our overall theme of maintaining high standards in analytical process control. Let's take a look at this example of raw data documentation. Here, we see an instance where the analyst records results only in the summary worksheet. While that might seem straightforward, it actually presents some issues. The main problem is that the original raw data isn't retained, which can be a big concern if questions or discrepancies arise later on. The correct practice, however, is to keep all original data intact. This means maintaining instrument printouts, so you have a physical record of the raw results. It also involves retaining electronic raw files, which are crucial for verifying data or reanalyzing if needed. Additionally, documenting calculations and observations is essential. This provides context and transparency for the data collected. By following these practices, we ensure data integrity and traceability, which are key themes throughout this presentation. Retaining original raw data not only supports compliance, but also strengthens the credibility of our results. Let's take a closer look at data integrity controls in the QC lab. These controls are essential for ensuring the accuracy, consistency, and reliability of our data. One of the key aspects is having clear SOPs for data handling, which guide our team on how to manage data properly throughout the process. Instrument qualification is also critical, as it ensures that our equipment is functioning correctly and producing valid results. Computer system validation plays a major role too, confirming that our digital systems are secure, accurate, and operate as intended. Regular periodic audit trail reviews are vital. They allow us to track any changes made to data and verify that everything remains compliant. Of course, well-trained analysts are the backbone of this process, because knowledgeable staff are more likely to follow protocols diligently and catch potential issues early. Data backup and disaster recovery plans are also key controls. They protect us from data loss due to unforeseen events, ensuring business continuity. All of these controls are aligned with the EU GMP Annex 11 guidelines, which set the standards for electronic records and signatures. Overall, these controls create a robust system that safeguards data integrity, supporting reliable quality control and regulatory compliance. Let's take a closer look at some common regulatory observations during inspections. Often, you'll find issues like disabled audit trails, which means the logs that track data changes are turned off or not maintained properly. This can really undermine data integrity. Shared user accounts are another frequent finding. When multiple people use the same login, it becomes difficult to hold anyone accountable for specific actions. Missing raw data is also a serious concern, because it prevents thorough review and verification of results. Uncontrolled data deletion is equally problematic. If data can be deleted without proper oversight, it compromises the reliability of the records. Finally, a lack of periodic review can lead to outdated or unchecked data systems, increasing the risk of errors slipping through. It's important to remember that regulators expect us to have strong governance over our laboratory data systems. They want to see that we have controls and procedures in place to ensure data integrity, security, and compliance. Keeping these principles at the core of our operations not only helps us pass inspections, but also reinforces the trust in our data and our overall quality management. So, to wrap up, strong data integrity management is absolutely essential in our field. It ensures that the laboratory results we rely on are accurate and trustworthy. This, in turn, helps us stay compliant with regulatory requirements, which is critical for our credibility and continued operation. And most importantly, it's all about patient safety, making sure that every decision we make is based on reliable data to protect those who depend on our products. Now, achieving this level of integrity depends on some key success factors. First, ALCOA plus compliance. This means data must be attributable, legible, contemporaneous, original, accurate, and complete. These principles form the foundation of trustworthy data. Second, securing our computerized systems is vital, protecting data from tampering or unauthorized access. Third, we need to regularly review audit trails to catch any discrepancies early and ensure ongoing integrity. And finally, continuous training of our staff keeps everyone aware of best practices and evolving standards. Remember, data integrity isn't just a checkbox. It's a core part of modern pharmaceutical quality systems. It underpins everything we do, from development to manufacturing, and ultimately, patient care. For further support, please feel free to contact us. We're here to help you with any questions or additional information you might need. And with that, I want to sincerely thank you all for your attention and participation today. Your engagement really makes a difference. Remember, we're committed to supporting your success beyond this presentation. So don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you once again.